Hey everybody, it's Jeremy. Welcome back to EA Tetragrammaton, where we are playing It is turn 124. Yeah. Game's like 3 times as long as a lot of games. Oh, and it's only gonna get longer. Let's go. Okay. Doing a whole bunch of our normal stuff. I say normal stuff. It's kind of the routine that we've fallen into. We're summoning a whole bunch of different units. Naiad warriors, vampires. We are now summoning forces of darkness. Not every turn, but on turns that we can. Corpse man constructions, kusarikus, yetis, liches, etc. Unique things for this turn. We have empowered Lich 7 in air. Great, so that's over there. He can start summoning Corpse Man constructions every turn. And then we have done a Mind Hunt, successfully killing Cernitu, which is nice because this guy was actually a vampire. So, sweet. Cool. Did some blood hunting, nice. Witnessed a battle between Inam and Lanka, and this is somewhat interesting, so we're actually going to watch this. This is Inam lashing back out against Raksharaja, one of... Ooh, we didn't even get to see it. One of Lanka's thugs, which he has been raiding with, much like I have been raiding with. So... Looks like he is on retreat. Try to get the fuck out of here. But... He's got 19 magic resistance, so that is unfortunate. Got 2 Soul Slayers come in with they've got Eyes of the Voids and Spell Focus, of course. So they are fully kitted out to do the needful. Soul Slay. Very nice. So unfortunate, but it is what it is. That Raksharaja actually had a pretty decent chance of surviving that. Okay, now the raiding back and forth continues. Inam has kind of made some interesting moves this turn. He started using more frequent, smaller forces. Forces that are definitely capable of handling a small amount of PD, and capable of potentially handling a handful of like liches or vampires or things like that. So in this scenario, right, a couple of Achas and Ami of Baal and a little bit of Chaff is basically, right, they come in and they do a whole bunch of buffs, right? And the real big kicker is this Baal is over here all souped up and ready to go. And then these other casters are basically just, you know... Oh, I think they're swarm casters, but this PD wasn't enough to trigger it, I suppose. Yeah, that's what it looks like. So swarm casting in order to allow this Baal time to buff up and then potentially handle anything else. Very interesting. Over here, we've got a larger group, right? Some shamans, a bunch of Amis. This is coming out of Resting Heights. Or this is coming out of Realm of Silence. So he's actually, like, moving out of this hold to strike back at us. So this is pretty threatening, right? We've got shamans, we've got a bunch of fire snakes, a little bit of chaff, a bunch of Amis. And this is more than capable of handling light thugs and things like that. Because they've got... this Baal can hit pretty hard. And then, obviously, right, all of the Amis and the Shamans can put together a pretty decent communion. So that'll be somewhat interesting. We attacked into Work Enum, and we actually... so we talked about this as a possibility, right? We got caught, and... we're up against mostly undead. some fire snakes, we've got some Rephite warriors, and then we've got a bunch, again, Amis and shamans. Lizard shamans. Now, this is actually somewhat interesting. We get Iron Will up, Iron Skin up. I think we get the majority of our kit up, and things go relatively well. They do a whole bunch of Pillars of Fire, and the Pillars of Fire are basically not really effective because of our Dragon Helmet. So that's awesome. Temper Flesh goes up. Strength of Gaia goes up, and now we have a bunch of regeneration. And we get Earth Power off. So the Fire Snakes close, and the Fire Snakes are basically incapable of really doing serious damage to us, right? The Rephite Warriors close, and they are definitely capable of delivering damage. Those 35 magic damage, hitting protection 31. Now, we do have the Scutata Volturnus, which does soup up our protection. We do have resistance, which does soup up our protection. But basically, once these Rephites get in, it's a gamble. Even these long dead Rephites, right? Once they get in, it's a toss-up of, do we get unlucky? Because we can take like one of these and regenerate from it a turn. But if we take two of them in a turn, we're probably going to die. Right? So, can we kill them quickly enough to prevent that from happening? So, see, we're taking a little chip damage here or there, here or there. We're basically harassed down to very low defense. So, most of these hits are coming in and hitting. It's just a matter of, do they get through the protection? We've taken weakened. And there's a 10. Still regenerating. 10, 12. Ooh. Nope. Oh, shit. Yeah, nope. Too many hits. Too many hits in rapid succession. Doing too much. And that's it. We killed 3 Fire Snakes, 2 Rephite Warriors. Not really a great exchange. But it is what it is. That Enkidu Shaman did quite a bit of work for us. We get attacked in Modern Weld. This is just a very small undead force, nothing really doing. We took care of a couple of provinces, or exchanged a couple of provinces for free. We get attacked in Range of Shadow, again, another undead force. We attacked in Gaeta and won. We attacked in Goodwater and won. We got attacked in Andoria and lost. We got attacked in Mirius and lost. Got attacked in Trobon. Got attacked a big army in Ivermark, right? Okay, so this one is marching forward. This is going to be the focus of our turn, pretty much. Whole lot of Amis, whole lot of Horite Shamans, a lot of Kohens, a couple Maguses, Melkarts, Naiads, Ketasims, Vampire Lords, a fair amount of chaff. Not a crazy amount, but a fair amount of chaff. This is a dangerous army. That was an Ivermark. We attacked in Black Alps and did a fair chunk of damage. We intercepted an army here. And unlike our Enkidu Shaman, we actually have the HP to back it up here. So, this Titan is able to get a couple of spells off during the... Yep, Iron Skin goes up. Very important. Had the Iron Skin not gone up, we might have been whittled down. But Iron Skin goes up, so we have very high protection now. We're still taking hits, but... thanks to the Iron Will at the start and the Amulet of Anti-Magic, we have 25 magic resistance. Temper Flesh finally goes up. Just this fucking Firebrand does so much fucking damage. It's able to clear so much chaff. Summon Earth Power goes up. I think... Yeah, a lot of their units are routed, and now everyone routes. Very good. So that's good for us. Where were we at? We were at Black Alps. Okay, so unfortunately, we had plenty of places to retreat to, so that didn't really amount to a whole hell of a lot. We killed some living statues, some long dead, some Maziks, and some Thralls, but most of these guys probably retreated successfully. We got attacked in Brightwoods, we got attacked in Delufe. Again, so we see he's moving out with a lot of these small groups of Achas and Amis, willing to throw out swarms and other clusters. But we can see he doesn't have a lot of thugs that he's sending out. Like he's sending out less Melkarts on their own, less not as many vampires on their own, etc. Because we've been sniping them with mind hunts. So I think he's basically saying, okay, I can't really do that. He might be pulling back, waiting to, Shade Mel Hobberkin, some Astrals in with a new wave. But for now, he's basically pulling back on that. But he's attacking with small groups of mages and very, very little in the way of chaff. So that's interesting. We've taken Dwargar, and then we got hit by the freaking boatmen. This one, though, is in Rim Mountains, where we just started. Last turn, we were like, hey, we're going to start a Palisades there. Hope they don't get hit. And of course it gets hit. What are the fucking chances? There's so many provinces that could have gotten hit. But of course, Rim Mountains gets hit. However, because we had the foresight to try to defend this, this is a large ethereal army, but we have not a fair amount of PD really, but we have a fair amount of reinforcing units in the vein of Gudus and in the vein of Liches and Vampire Lords. So we get some air elementals into the mix. Those are going to be very helpful. And then we get a fair amount of undead chaff coming up. So the air elementals do quite a bit of work, honestly. But after the air elementals... Nope. Is it him? Doing raise dead, raise dead, raise dead. It might have been his guy. Someone was doing the undead AoE like Witherbones. It's me. Our Lich is doing Witherbones. And that actually seems to be relatively effective against these ethereal units. So that's kind of interesting. Long story short, we have enough here to stave off this attack, which is good. We do not have enough here to stave off this attack. So, this elder flees, and we lose the Wood of Many Paths. I have a couple events, minus population in Whispering Wastes. I get some fire gems in Assad, deadly diseases in Mosswoods and Troll Peaks. And then we have a new famous hero. Our Tart 14 gained unequal obesity, so more HP. Great, fantastic. That's actually not bad for us. What is bad for us is that she has decided she needs to research this turn, because 25%, I swear, like it feels, so they have 25% Shattered Soul. It feels like it's almost guaranteed every other turn, right? Like it doesn't feel 25%, it definitely feels 50%. It is pretty damn consistent. So what are we doing this turn? Mostly continuing to raid and counter raid. We have to be kind of careful now that he is out in the field with so many of his units, right? We have to be careful about sending our liches into areas where he can easily catch them and hit them with soul slays. We don't mind if they die regular deaths, but we do not want their souls slayed, because then we basically just lost 30 death gems. So hard pass on that. So that's what the majority of these movements are. We're going into range of shadows. We're going to be hitting resting heights, just in case. I'm assuming that that he's going to be pulling out of here, but he might actually sit in resting heights, and if he does, then we're probably going to take a loss. I accidentally sent out Lich 2, which is one of our boosted Liches. I did not mean to do that, but we're going to send him back to Pangea. We're sending Gudu, our air Gudus over here, back to Pangea as well. We're going to be hitting a Delufe, potentially with Tart 15. I mean, we are sending Tart 15 over there. We're also sending Ishib's 73 and Ishib 41 here. We're kind of sending them as a as an aside, like as protection for Tart 15. In fact, I think about it, we want to like nestle them all down in the corner real quick. Because they're gonna do Water Elemental, and then one of them is gonna do Moss Body. And the other is going to do, does he have, the other is going to do Quickness. This guy is doing Iron Will, Iron Skin, Temper Flesh, Mist Form, all that good jazz. I don't really want them doing Liquid Body. I just want them to do a Water Elemental and then toss these buffs out and then try to get the fuck out. So they should definitely target him. He has the most HP. They might not, though, because sometimes the AI decides to be a little bitch. Yeah, I think we're going to do just a little bit of a fluff there. That should be fine. So Moss Body and Quickness, and then I want them to retreat. And we'll see how that goes. What else? We are sending an attack into Eterol. We're sending this side. This is just so now that he's kind of responding with these little raiding groups, I have to be careful because my singular raiding thugs will die to these raiding groups, and some of them will die permanently because of Soulslay. So we want to avoid that. So we want to try to anticipate attack patterns. So I'm hopeful that maybe he will send one of these groups. If he sends both of these groups, then that's actually really bad for me. But if he sends one of these groups, the anticipation is that we will catch him in Caves of Madness because we're sending Pyroflogos there. And we are sending most of the units from Kailasa there. So most of these units are going to come in. We've got a bit of an army here. We're going to put up Army of Lead. We're going to put up Mass Regeneration. We've got a fair amount of Legions of Steel coming out. We've got some Water Elementals coming out, etc., etc. So we're going to see how this works out. It might work very poorly for us. If it does, then what we'll have to do is we'll have to consolidate forces from Silverfangs and Belagor into an actual army with the intention of defending Kailasa. Because otherwise we're probably going to get stomped. Other things that are going on. So we've got this big ass army at Ivermark. We've taken a look at that previously, right? It's this one. 41 Amis, 14 Horite Shamans, 8 Kohens. This is a fat army. If he marches on Halbathria, we already have a very big army there to contend with him, but it is a beaten up army. All of the people here, all of the units here have a whole host of afflictions, right? And there's not a lot that we can do about that at the moment. And And if he marches on Gibernia, what is left there is absolutely not enough to prevent him from taking Gibernia. So what we are doing this turn is we are moving all of our forces in the Tir Nanog area. All the forces from Halbathria, most of the forces from Halbathria, most of the forces from Tir Nanog, most of the forces from Gibernia into Oak Halls. Now, there's the off chance, I think it's a very slim chance, that he actually moves into Oak Halls, and if that's the case, there's going to be a big-ass fucking battle. But I find that unlikely. I find more likely probably most likely, this is just a probing feint, and he's going to fall back into Raphabolia. It is possible that he goes for Gibernia or Halbathria. It's possible he goes up to Turtle Glades in order to head towards Flower Meadow or Kailasa, right? Maybe he tries to consolidate these forces with the forces from Ivermark into one. Who knows, right? Regardless, though, I think the least likely is that he hits Oak Halls, but because there is the chance of him hitting Gibernia and us not being able to defend it, what we want to do is we want to position our army to be able to respond. If he hits us in Oak Halls, then that's obviously a big fight. If he hits in Gibernia or Halbathria, we can then respond with the unified army. And this unified army is fucking massive. It's enormous. It's got like 800 plus units, a shit ton of mages, basically everything that we can throw into the mix, and then some. I'm sending a whole bunch of scouts with a bunch of different gems. We've got all of our different buffs that we're basically open to utilizing, and then some, because we're actually sending in this Ugalu with our newly created Winged Helm and Bag of Winds, a whole bunch of air gems for Fog Warriors, for Mists of Deception. Yeah. Actually, I don't really want to lose. I had a Robe of the Magi on him because I'll tell you what I was considering doing previously. I was considering getting him in there and casting a couple of Shimmering Fields right off the bat, right? Shimmering Fields does a fair chunk of damage. It's got a little bit of a wind up, but it hurts. The only issue is I think it's fairly likely that he immediately throws up, Thunderfend or a Gaia's Blessing, the same thing that we're basically doing. So this is going to be resisted partially already. And then the idea of trying to force two of them onto the field, it's honestly probably worth it. It's probably way more worthwhile to do that than Fog Warriors and Mists of Deception. I just don't know. Which is why I was very hesitant to do it. It is still something that I can do even without the Robe of the Magi, and I don't think risking the Robe of the Magi is worthwhile. So I think we're just going to send him in. We'll set him on Fog Warriors and Mist of Deception, and if we want to change that, he has plenty of gems, we can swap over to something else. The other big thing, we're doing our Demon Cleansing, we're doing our Gaia's Blessing, Mass Regeneration, Howls, Reliefs, our Life After Death, Rush of Strength, all of those different buffs. The Fortune or whatever. Shit, what's that called? Can't think of it. What is that called? Will of the Fates. Boom. We're doing all of those different things. The other thing that we're doing, and we've kind of geared for this slightly, we're not going super in depth because I don't want something stuck on my god, but we have given him a spell focus, is that we are casting Army of Rats. So this hits the entire battlefield, and it only hits enemy units, so we don't have to worry about friendly fire. But it's it turns everyone into rats, and they basically take decent stat penalties for the entire duration of the battlefield. So this is, I think, unlikely to be super effective, but it's kind of like it's an alternative to mass domination or you know, right, that type of situation. So we're gonna see how it goes. Fingers crossed. I don't really know. I haven't had much success with things like this. I find that most of these types of things only really work. Army of Rats, Mass Domination, or whatever it's called. Those types of things only really work when a person doesn't see it coming, or when it's done really early on, right? Like someone rushes up to it and does it at, like, you know, turn 40 or something like that, and a person's like, holy shit, how the fuck, really? You know, it's like, I guess you didn't research anything else, you know, that type of thing. So we'll see how it goes. We also have a couple of Gudus that are outfitted with our black bows of Boltov, as well as eyes of aiming. They're going to get hit by our wind guide, right? And they're hopefully going to snipe a couple of mages and feeble mind some people. More likely, they are going to feeble mind my own people. We'll see how that goes. Fingers crossed that is not the case. We also have, this is going to be a little weird, but we have a little contingent of liches and vampires down here. And we're going to try something out. I don't know that it is going to work, but we've got a bunch of bodyguards, the Inky's Chosen that we have. And these are sacreds. So in the battle, when they get blessed, they're going to get hit with our regeneration buff, our regeneration bless. But they will also get blessed by mass regeneration. So they should, if I'm remembering this correctly, they should get a 20% regeneration buff. The hope that we're trying to accomplish here is the kind of, it's not a communion, but it's the kind of like concept of a communion, is you Soul Vortex on a horde of skeleton caster, give them regenerating bodyguards, and then the regenerating bodyguards continuously get hit by the Soul Vortex, which gives the Lich or the Vampire Lord fatigue reduction, so that they can continuously just spam out hordes of skeletons. So it's kind of like a turbo communion. Not as effective. I guess it kind of depends on the amount of regeneration that they can do. I don't know that our Inky's Chosen are going to be able to do that much regeneration, but it is a thing that we're looking at. And if it works well, we might employ it further in the future. We'll see how it goes. So again, not anticipating a big battle here, but there is the possibility. Really what we're doing is we're posturing for position here to be able to defend in either direction for Gibernia or Halbathria. If he pulls back, it's likely going to be that we're just going to charge Raphabolia. I'm kind of getting to that point in the game again where I'm like, yes, we are making slow progress. Yes, we are slowly choking him out. I'm kind of bored of the slow. I'm kind of considering just tossing bodies into the meat grinder and seeing how it goes. If it goes really bad, it goes really bad, and we're back to square one, and we have to fight our way all the way back up through this. But at the same time, if we lose a whole bunch of bodies, we're gonna get a whole bunch of up income back. So yay, we'll see how it goes. Other shit that we are doing. Continuing on with our blood game, which hasn't been the greatest the last few turns. We have very high unrest here in Perenna, so we're actually patrolling with a double set to try to get the unrest down. Continuing to summon Vampire Lords, sneaking Vampire Lords down to Belagor, trying to patrol and get this stuff down, which is taking some time, but I think in the next 2 or 3 turns, Belagor will probably be ready to go. Reinforcing Rim Mountains, we're continuing to build the city palisades here, and we are building a lab here so that the Gudus that are here can reinforce their gem usage. we're also reinforcing with some actual more air Gudus just in case they get hit a second time. Attacking into Wood of Many Paths to try to take that back. And then I think, generally speaking, we are not doing anything new or crazy. We're forging a Crown of Command because we're kind of out of those. Forging Clams of Pearl. Forging Endless Bags of Wine. More Dwarven Hammers. More... Actually, I think the main focus for a lot of this turn is we've been going around to all of our Ishibs, and if they don't have a Water Bracelet or a Water Lens, we've been giving them a hammer. So, like, this guy has a Endless Bag of Wine. He got a hammer this turn. He's going to make his own Water Lens, and then that bag of wine is going to go on someone else. It can just as easily go on a Gudu or something like that as it can on this Ishib. So let's give the Ishib some power. So we've actually carved through a lot of our water gem income, and we're gonna have to be careful with that. We're still summoning more Naiads over here. Still summoning more Naiads over here. More Naiads, more Yetis in Pangea. We can't continue to do that and all of the forging that we have been doing. So one of those is going to have to give in the near future, but we might as well burn down the gem. We have no other use for them. We might as well burn down the gems as well as we can. Probably next turn is probably going to be the last turn that we really burn through them. Get down to around 50, and then it's kind of like only use as much as we generate, basically. You know what we didn't do this turn? We didn't really look for a... We didn't really look for a legendary that we could be forging. I just didn't... I say I didn't look. I didn't find anything that I thought was super interesting that hadn't already been taken. See, like, just most of the things already exist. I guess that could be good. But I don't know. Like, grow monsters, 25 gems. Is that worthwhile? Probably not. Like, just generally speaking, probably not. Because it's not an auto spell, is it? Oh, it is an auto spell. Yeah, that's probably worth it. Here. Get rid of this. You no longer get to forge your own water gem. You can do that next turn. This guy can forge a box. Already exists, already exists. We put drop near on someone. I don't really care about that. I probably should. Already exists. Too low. And that's so expensive anyways. Already exists. Jeez. Everything already exists. Okay, that's pretty much it for the turn, I think. Not a whole lot of crazy stuff going. Continuing to build up, continuing to push against Hinnom. Every turn, so we're not really recruiting anymore, by the way. Our income's basically going to infrastructure every turn. So this turn, the lab came out. Next turn, we're probably going to start dropping. We'll probably drop a temple here in Rim Mountains. I'm pretty committed to protecting Rim Mountains for now. We're also sending a group of, not very many, some more thralls over from Kohnberg. But yeah, I think it's probable that we're going to start putting up temples in a lot of these other forts. Again, I think one of our potential strong suits in the near future is going to be pushing our Dominion really hard. But we'll see how that goes. All right, that's going to be it for the turn. Thanks for watching. I will see you all next time in this forever game. Bye-bye.